Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Utility Sports. And in today's video, we've got massive news on Deshaun Watson. Welcome to the live stream. I'm going to be getting everything set up here while we're talking. So give me 1 second here at the start of the stream. But Deshaun Watson is being traded to the Cleveland Browns. Andrew Berry, the GM of the Cleveland Browns, was very aggressive in his pursuit of Deshaun Watson. Yesterday, there was plenty of rumors saying that he was out. He was not going to be going to Cleveland, and now in turn actually is going to stick with the Cleveland Browns here. They basically have convinced him to stay, and that's going to be huge for them. They needed to work their magic, and they were able to, and Deshaun Watson will be a member of the Cleveland Browns, which is huge. It's huge for that franchise. They badly needed a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, and luckily for them, they've got it now with him. So that's huge. Deshaun Watson getting traded to the Cleveland Browns. Absolutely massive information that we've got going on here. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you're not already. We're going to go ahead and get the Twitter here pulled up to make sure that you guys can see everything going on. Again, welcome to the live stream. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give me 1 second here. I am in the process of getting everything set up. I was busy right as the news broke, so I am a couple minutes late to getting streaming here. But I was ready for it. I had, a lot of stuff planned for what was going to go on here with Deshaun. And the Cleveland Browns re-emerged as of late to get back involved with the Deshaun Watson trade. Absolutely huge that we're going to see Deshaun Watson playing for the Cleveland Browns next season. Still has 22 civil lawsuits against him. But obviously the Browns felt comfortable enough with where he was at to go out and make a huge move for him. So absolutely massive. Again, another live stream here today, too, that we are conducting for you guys. I was streaming for 2 hours yesterday. And the hope today is that I'll stream again for quite some time, talking about Deshaun Watson going to the Browns. Absolutely crazy news that we've got here. Give me 1 second as I'm continuing to set up everything for the stream here as we speak. I know it's a little less organized than I would like, but the fact that this news just broke definitely does throw in a little bit of a wrench. So getting the tags in and everything like that. So absolutely crazy that we have this going on now live. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the start of the stream here. Again, grab some popcorn because we got huge news to break down because Deshaun Watson is a member of the Browns. The Cleveland Browns have went out and got Deshaun Watson, which is absolutely huge for that franchise. Welcome everyone to the live stream. Joker Hope, where is Baker going? That's what we're going to discuss and more here today. And then also Mr. Rudy Poo says Falcons fans in shambles. Yes, they are. Ben Goldner, welcome to the stream. You got your guy. I thought of you right away as the news broke. You were the first thing I thought of here with the fact that you were able to get the player you wanted. And that player, of course, Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans. He is a member now of the Cleveland Browns. Welcome everyone to the live stream. And I can see your excitement here as you spam type. Absolutely crazy. We have Deshaun Watson, a member of the Cleveland Browns now. Absolutely insane. Had to update my thumbnail, had to get everything switched over because I did not expect him to get traded to the Browns today. Absolutely crazy news. I did think he was going to get traded. I just thought it was going to be Atlanta. So very persistent effort here from Deshaun Watson. Or by the Cleveland Browns, rather, to get it done. Deshaun Watson traded to the Browns. So absolutely insane. And I just can't believe it. So huge news here in the NFL. This is something that basically dictates how the NFL is going, and the AFC keeps getting stronger. Oh, my goodness. So interesting here. We're talking now. There's question marks here about are we trading Kareem Hunt? We'll get to that. Basic Gamer, welcome back to the stream, says, is that true? Yes, Deshaun Watson is going to the Cleveland Browns. Here we have a guess from Dr. Old School, Baker to the Steelers. Ben Goldner says, I'm freaking out. I just jumped into my lake. Curtis Rancour says Browns were supposed to be out of this thing. They were, which is absolutely shocking that they're here now. And they're pulling off the deal. They were very persistent. They gave him $48 million a year. And I think that was instrumental in getting him to stay with the Browns and getting him to come to Cleveland. Tim says, woof, 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 dog pound. Curtis Baker to the Colts, potentially. BTG says Baker's a Colt, the best team without a quarterback. Saints are a sleeper for him, but Seahawks need to stay away and rebuild. Mr. Rudy Poo says, wow, 3 firsts and more picks. It is a lot to give up, but definitely well worth it just with how important the quarterback position is. Again, welcome everyone to the live stream. Hopefully you guys are excited and enjoying. I'm extremely excited. If you are, hit that like button right now for me. And NSC says, I'm happy for Amari Cooper. He gets a really good quarterback to play with. Dr. Old School says it's going to get nasty for the Browns haters. Yes, it is. And I'm sorry, Stress Free says, Falcons let me down again. I thought of you right away, too. I knew you were going to be fairly disappointed in your squad. The fact that they weren't able to get a deal done. Definitely disappointing for sure. I'm going to go into slow mode here. Set this to 20 seconds. And we're also going to change the participant mode to subscribers. So you guys have to be subscribed to comment. I'm setting that up right now. Again, welcome to the live stream. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe to Utility Sports. Absolutely crazy. Deshaun Watson being traded to the Cleveland Browns. And it's a very tough and tight division here in the AFC North. Mr. Rudy Poo says, now we wait and see what the NFL will do to Deshaun, right? Because here's the thing. He's still got 22 civil lawsuits. So this is a big risk to be incurring. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. I think that was a good time to 5 years, $46 million each year guaranteed. So he's getting fully guaranteed money here, which I think is huge for him and that team specifically. Carolina's crying. Yes, they are. So here it is. Here's the tweet from Adam Schefter, the original one that kind of sent the world into a whirlwind. It says, Deshaun Watson has decided he wants to play for the Cleveland Browns in a stunning change of events per sources. Watson has informed the Houston Texans that he is now willing to waive the no-trade clause in his contract to be dealt to Cleveland. So ultimately, he wants to be a Cleveland Brown, which is huge. It's huge, huge, huge for the young quarterback to have decided that. He's comfortable going to Houston. I thought Atlanta was going to be the landing spot, or going to Cleveland. I thought Atlanta was going to be the landing spot. And like Schefter says, Baker Mayfield will now be able to get the trade he wants. I'm interested to see if he's going to be included in the deal to Houston. You would think that he should be, right? For value, you think Houston would want to get a quarterback back, even though they have Davis Mills. So I guess we'll see now. It is now up to Texans and Browns to finalize a trade agreement. So that's what we're going to be covering here. We're going to be talking about who goes where, every little tiny piece of the puzzle, where everyone's going, because I think this is really what it's going to come down to here, is what the Texans and Browns basically finalize in a deal. Will the Browns get Baker, or will the Texans, get Baker Mayfield? Will the Browns get anything in addition to Deshaun Watson? Will the Texans get 3 first-round picks, 2 second-rounders, a good young player? I want to see what's all going back and forth in this deal. But it's crazy because 5 years, $230 million contract. That's a lot of money to pay out to a guy who has some off-the-field issues right now. But Deshaun Watson will sign a 5-year, $230 million contract with the Cleveland Browns. Let's go ahead and put that up on the screen now for you guys. Absolutely insane and just quite frankly incredible that Deshaun Watson is going to be heading to the Cleveland Browns here. This is the best quarterback the Browns are going to have had in my lifetime, and probably for a lot of you as well. They've always been looking for that quarterback. Many believe Baker Mayfield was that guy. Obviously, this is a clear upgrade for them. Jags fan here says, Browns or Bengals for the AFC North. I mean, the Steelers and Ravens are really good too. Not only is the AFC West really tough, but the AFC North got a lot better as well with this move. So the AFC North is highly competitive. The AFC West is highly competitive. The AFC South is quite down from where they're usually at. And then the AFC East, not really at a point where it's strong or weak. I think probably middle of the road type of division. But the AFC is absolutely incredibly difficult. Basic Gamer says, I'm happy Deshaun's not in the NFC. This is the one positive here. If you're a Panthers, Falcons, or Saints fan, at least no one in your division got him, right? You know, there was a real possibility if you're New Orleans or Atlanta that the other team got him. And then you have to not only not get him, but face him twice a year as well. That's a tough pill to swallow. Mr. Rudy Poo says, I see Baker Going to Seattle, definitely a possibility. We'll talk about Baker Mayfield's landing spots and more. Go ahead, share the stream. Share it with your friends if anyone's looking for a place to listen and hear about the Baker Mayfield potential trades or the Deshaun Watson deal. Jason Collins here saying, I hope Kareem Hunt isn't gone. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting dynamic if they keep two people who've had off-the-field issues together in that quarterback and running back room. And then Ghosty says, this is crazy. It really is. This is absolutely huge and monumental for the NFL. Again, Deshaun Watson signing a 5-year, $230 million contract. That's huge. The Cleveland Browns, if you're a Browns fan, you got to be smiling right now because this is absolutely huge how much of a deal breaker this is for the NFL. Again, if you're excited, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on more content here at Utility Sports. I did a Green Bay Packers mock draft today. So that's up on the channel if you're interested in what the Packers could be looking at after a Devontae Adams, after the Devontae Adams trade, because they do have 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks now, so they're definitely an interesting team. Tim Zahler says, watch Baker go to the Steelers. I would be surprised if Baker's getting traded in division, especially now with Trubisky there. I think the Steelers probably wouldn't do that. Basic Gamer says, I feel bad for Falcons fans. Definitely feel that. But, you know, at the time for Atlanta, they were going to give up a ton of assets. So I think it'll be interesting to watch what happens with not only the Falcons in general, but also Matt Ryan. Do they feel like they should move on from him now? Because I wonder how he's feeling about the franchise, maybe not being, you know, really invested in him. Jason Collins says, can't happen. We would have to send him there. Right. That's the thing. Yep. So the Browns just aren't going to send him in division. That's just not going to be something that happens. But it's a good point. They do need a QB. I think. I don't think Trubisky's, you know, a great answer. I think Baker's better than Trubisky, but as of right now, I would guess that that's not going to be the actual landing spot. Again, welcome everyone to the stream. Hopefully you are enjoying. It's been absolutely awesome for me here, just, you know, recording about Deshaun Watson in general. We had a great stream yesterday, and I'm really excited about what the potential Browns offense could look like. I'm interested to see who gets traded here. And I think right now is a good time to plug our Utility Sports Twitter. Go check us out on Twitter. Make sure to go hit the like button on some of our tweets. That would really help us. Link is in the description. So go give us a follow on there if you are interested in that. Tim Zahler says, also, if we don't find a trade partner and we release Baker, he can go to Pittsburgh. True. I would think that, you know, Houston would want Baker Mayfield back in a trade. Like, simply because they could reroute him. They could try and trade him themselves, give them more trade value. The Deshaun, okay, I need to pull this up on stream. Let's go ahead and get this up on there because I want you guys to be seeing all the important information. I've got it all here, so let's make sure we get everything that you guys need to see. Field Yates on Twitter, he tweets here. The Deshaun Watson trade will just be the second in NFL history in which one team trades 3 first-round picks, joining the Herschel Walker Cowboys-Vikings deal. Given the money paid by Cleveland and draft capital sent to Houston, it's amongst the biggest trades in NFL history. It really is. They are going all in on the Deshaun Watson. You know, they're going all in on Deshaun, is ultimately what I'm trying to say here. And with Deshaun, there's still some risk here because he has 22 civil lawsuits against him. You know, he's going to have some off-the-field stuff he's still going to be dealing with over the next couple months. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. Like Ghosties is saying here, Deshaun still does have multiple accusations against him. So we'll see exactly if that has anything that the NFL is going to, you know, potentially suspend him for. If there's going to be any downsides to this for Cleveland. But ultimately, at the end of the day, their roster got a lot more talented. They got a much better quarterback. And the Cleveland Browns are really well set now at the QB spot. Ghosty says, but us Browns fans will stick by each other. Yes. I mean, the thing is, you just got to be happy. Let's go ahead and let's see if I can find a picture here of what this will look like. So I want to see if I can get Watson in a Browns uniform for the stream, try and hype him up a little bit. As of right now, I'm not exactly sure if there's going to be one that I can find. And I'm really, really excited. Okay, here it is. We've got a picture here on stream. Now contract talk. Okay, crazy. Let's go ahead and pull this up on stream here for you guys. I want you to be able to see everything that I'm seeing. So let's go ahead and pull this up for you now. Share screen here. And let's get this on the tab here, because this is the first look officially at Deshaun Watson with the Cleveland Browns. So here he is now rocking that Browns uniform. What's your guys' thought? Give this on a scale of 1 to 10. Grade this look. How does Deshaun Watson look in a Browns uniform? Again, give it on a scale of 1 to 10. For me, I'm going to say that's probably at least a 7 or an 8 out of 10. It looks pretty good to me, I think. Deshaun Watson is a beast. He's a really good player. And now Cleveland gets their franchise guy. They get the quarterback that they want. Funny, Adam Schefter's just tweeted a really good point. Texans traded up with the Browns in the 2017 draft to select Deshaun Watson, 12th overall. Now it comes full circle. Yep, the Browns decided they did not want to draft him. And for Deshaun, he lands with the team that passed on drafting him with Cleveland. So Cleveland did it. Burger Sports says the Browns did all this just to lose to the Bills, Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, and Bengals. The AFC is insane. I mean, it is absolutely insane. TTV Ashton says the NFL can't suspend for no evidence. I mean, we're going to have to see how all that stuff plays out, if he gets convicted or not. That's really going to be what it comes down to. Stress Free says he was out for a whole year. That should count as a suspension. It's an interesting point. Adam Schefter posted a picture of him in a Browns uni, I think. Negative 90. Okay. Ghosties gives it an 8.5 out of 10. Hard 8 for the Browns uniform there. John Carlos, welcome to the stream, says, dude is barely 560 games. Baker about same. Both organizations have been garbage. Yeah, but let's not act like, Deshaun. Let's not act like Deshaun Watson's on the actual same stratosphere as Baker Mayfield. We need to stop pretending that. And this is the issue with quarterback wins being, or with wins being a quarterback stat. Texans and Browns do play each other this season as well, which is very interesting. So that's something to keep our eyes on. But wins, I know they get labeled as a quarterback stat. Let's be honest about it. The Texans were terrible after trading DeAndre Hopkins. How many games is he supposed to win, right? Like, you have to watch the games and just see the arm talent and his physical capabilities. I mean, he's one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the NFL. He's very, very talented as a thrower. Like, you would have to be crazy to say you don't want Deshaun Watson, right? Like, Deshaun is a beast. The Browns are really well set up. This is a phenomenal move. Deshaun Watson getting traded to the Cleveland Browns makes sense for both sides here. The Texans get probably really good compensation, which is what we're waiting on, which is why we're still, sitting here kind of thinking about possibly what it could be. I want you guys to tell me what you think the actual trade could be. Right now, comment your predictions. I want your predictions in the chat right now about what the trade package is for Deshaun Watson. I know there's 3 first-round picks in there, so you probably have to start with that, and then give me your other assets that are involved as well, whether that's Kareem Hunt, could be another player or two. Let me know. Maybe Denzel Ward. I wouldn't love that as much for Cleveland, but it's potentially the case. Let me know. Send me your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys think is all going on here, because Deshaun Watson is getting traded to the Cleveland Browns. So absolutely huge that Deshaun Watson is landing in Cleveland. Crazy news here with Deshaun Watson. So for me, it's huge. We'll see exactly what pans out of this. There's going to be a lot on the line here for both the Browns and the Houston Texans, because the compensation here does really matter. So for me, I would be pretty shocked if it's not, a really good collection of things. So we'll see exactly what's going to be involved in this deal or not. Again, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to leave a like. Also subscribe. TTV Ashton says AFC going to be hard. Yes, it's going to be. It's going to be insane. Burger Sports says, imagine he gets convicted and suspended the entire year and the Browns are out of all the guaranteed money. That's the thing. Not only the money, but here's the thing. If Houston has any inkling that perhaps he could get suspended for the year, Cleveland would probably be terrible. And if you're getting their pick, you could be very likely looking at another top 10 pick, which would be huge. The Browns just didn't have a great season this past year. So very likely that the Texans here are setting themselves up for a ton of success with this trade. Mr. Rudy says $230 million fully guaranteed. Quarter of a billionaire. Yes, he is. And I think this kind of shows too, look at Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes got $500 million in his contract. Now, of course, Mahomes doesn't have any of the off the field issues that Deshaun Watson's currently going through. So, I'm not saying that that's not worth it, but it's a big amount of money to go. Ben Goldner says it is 3 firsts and a third and fifth. It was reported. Okay, let's see if I can pull this up here on stream. Let me go over here. Let's get this stop share. And let's go back over to the Twitter, because Twitter, I think, has some more information on it. So let's go ahead and try and get all of that covered and more. So Deshaun Watson to the Cleveland Browns. That is, of course, going to be the case. But we need to go to Traeger here now with his latest in the news here for Deshaun. Absolutely crazy. If you guys are excited, make sure to leave a like on the stream right now. Also, subscribe to the channel. I have my own Instagram, my personal Instagram, in the description if you want to go give me a follow. Otherwise, you could just go and give Utility Sports a follow on Instagram. We don't really post on there too much, but Peter Schrager says, from the Texans side, looks like we're talking about 3 first-round picks and potentially 2 to 3 more other assets. Caserio went 5 for 5 on draft selections last year without a first or second-round pick. They're in complete rebuild mode, 3+ picks and more for a guy who is never playing there. Definitely a really good outcome here, just given the fact that they weren't going to get anything. They weren't going to get any play from him. He just didn't want to be on that team anymore, which is fine. He didn't want to be there, and then had off the field stuff going on. The fact that this money's all guaranteed is definitely huge for Deshaun, because it gives him a lot of security. Dan says, hey, it's me, Dan. If you remember me, sorry, I'm busy with school. Yeah, no worries, Dan. I remember you're a big-time 76ers fan and Philly fan, so glad to have you in here. Welcome back to the stream. Jacob says, AFC is way too loaded. Yes, it is. The AFC is insane. I want you guys to give me your top 16 teams in order in the AFC. I'm going to go ahead and pull them up on the stream right now. Let's go ahead and get the AFC teams pulled up, because we should talk about where we think each team finishes, who wins their division, that kind of stuff, because I do think there's a lot on the line here that is going to be huge for how this really plays out. So let's go ahead and get this pulled up on the stream here now. Here is the teams. They are listed by division, so I'm going to go ahead and stop share here. Johnny Hecker to the Panthers as well. So the Panthers make a move, go get Johnny Hecker. It's a pretty good punter for them to pick up. But here we are. Here's the AFC teams. Go ahead, give me your rankings. Browns expected to trade 3 first-round picks, a third, and potentially a fifth for Deshaun Watson, which gives them some flexibility on where they trade Baker Mayfield, which is definitely huge. But let's go ahead and rank the AFC here. Let's go ahead and rank the AFC teams, starting with the, you could do it by division, however you think. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Mr. Rudy says Falcons blew another lead. No, they were up 28-3 here on Cleveland and just couldn't close the door on it. Definitely disappointing. I think the money was huge. Juju Smith-Schuster to the Chiefs, by the way, which I think was a foregone conclusion for a lot of people. Nicholas, welcome to the stream. He says, what do you think about Baker Mayfield value now? Second round picks, my guess. Yes, I agree. I think the Colts have picked 43 this year, I believe, maybe 42. It's 42 or 43. I think that's going to be what they offer for Baker. And the Browns probably say yes. Moving on to Burger to Sports, he says, if Wentz brought all the picks after his disaster season, Browns getting a second bare minimum for Baker. Agreed. Dan says, by the way, from that Harden trade, the 76ers are doing decent. Yes, they are. They've been, doing pretty well. Had one down game against the Nets that I think a lot of people from the media are focusing on. But, it's one game. I'm not going to put way too much emphasis onto that. And Juju Smith-Schuster leaving the AFC North to Kansas City in the AFC West. The AFC West gets better yet again. Burger Does Sports here with his ranking. This is his playoff standing. Says 1 Broncos. Guys, he's a Broncos fan. We got to cut him some slack here. He's going to go that way. I can't blame him. I'm a Jets fan, so I don't have them as my 1 seed in the AFC this next year. But I don't think that's surprising to anyone. He's got the Bills 2, Bengals 3, Colts 4. Interesting to have the Colts 4, obviously as a division winner there. But, he has them over Tennessee, which is interesting. He has the Chargers 5, Chiefs 6, and then the Browns 7. So he thinks Deshaun Watson moves the needle for this team, which is interesting because he has the Raiders not making the postseason. Colts and Browns are having discussions about a Baker Mayfield trade per league sources. Right now, just discussions, but something to keep an eye on. So very possible here that we see Deshaun Watson taking Baker Mayfield's job, and Baker Mayfield then in turn going to the Indianapolis Colts. Excuse me, Baker Mayfield, Colts. Baker Mayfield, Colts. Just excuse me. Here I am updating the tags as we speak. Because there's a ton going on today in the NFL. I'm trying to make sure the channel's staying up to date on everything. Basic Gamer says, what do you think is the best division in the NFL? And it's got to be right here. If you guys can see my cursor, it's this right here. The AFC West is absolutely loaded. I don't think there's an argument for any other division even. AFC North's really good. The AFC North is very talented, but the AFC West is stacked. When you look at Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, that's already tough. And then you consider, Randy Gregory, Bradley Chubb. You have Chris Jones and Frank Clark. You've got here Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. And then here you got Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. I mean, that's terrifying. That's two great pass rushers on each team. And then the Broncos have really good young cornerback play. Okay, here's the deal. Okay, yep, we got it now. We got the terms of the trade. Let's go ahead and pull that back up on stream for you guys. Crazy. Similar to what we were expecting a little bit. Maybe quite not the actual package we thought it was going to be, but similar, very similar to the package we thought. They didn't get the second-round picks like I was kind of hoping for them to actually land. So according to Pete Traeger here, he says, terms of the trade, Browns trade 3 first-round picks, a third and a fourth to the Texans for Deshaun Watson and a 5th rounder. So it's interesting here they didn't have to give up any second-round picks. It keeps their flexibility alive, especially since they're going to be able to trade Baker Mayfield. I'm surprised the Texans didn't take Baker Mayfield back in this deal. I know they have Davis Mills, but from the Texans' perspective, you do it so that you can reroute Baker Mayfield, right? So you can trade him for a second-round pick yourself. I think they should have played a little bit more hardball with that to go get that deal. But the fact that he did get 2023 first-rounders or 3 first-rounders over the next 3 seasons, that's huge. Burger Sports says Colts suck, just cupcake division. I feel what you're saying. AFC South's probably the weakest division in the AFC. Curtis Rancour says 2023 Pro Bowl won't be fair. Yeah, the AFC is going to be stacked. And the one interesting thing about that is there's going to be a lot of guys in the AFC that actually probably don't get Pro Bowl recognition that deserve it because there's going to be a ton of good edges. There's a ton of good quarterbacks now. The AFC is insanely talented, and the NFC is quite frankly lagging behind. Dan says, have the Eagles made any trades yet? Also, the Chiefs are a stacked team 100%, so I think they'll win the Super Bowl with Juju. The Eagles have not made any trades yet. They've been pretty quiet. They've got 3 first-round picks, though, so they got a lot of flexibility. And then also for the Chiefs, I think they should be considered the favorite still. We know what they are. I know some people are going to disagree with that, but they have Patrick Mahomes, they have Tyreek Hill, they have Travis Kelce. At the end of the day, we know what that trio does. We know how great they've been. And there's, sometimes the absence of news can be a good thing because they have a lot of chemistry. They just know what they're going to do together. Basic Gamer here with his ranking says Bengals, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Bills, Titans, Ravens, Browns, Broncos, Steelers in that order. I think that's a pretty good list there. I would have had the Chiefs a little bit higher, probably 1, but definitely a fair list indeed. Burger Sports says Raiders are going 1-5 in the AFC West this year. It's a possibility. But there's also potential that they go 3-3. It's possible every single team in the division could go 3-3 in divisional games this year. Burger Sports says the team that's really not making it, I'm so happy for it, is the Patriots. They have no chance. They've definitely been, kind of outpaced by some of these other teams. Last year they were very aggressive, brought in guys like Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Nelson Aguilar. But let's be honest about it. This offseason's just been way crazier in terms of star players on the move. It's been huge. Quan Woodruff wants to know, is he actually traded to the Browns? Yes. Yes, he has been traded to Cleveland. Deshaun Watson is the guy for the Cleveland Browns. He's there, and he is their guy. The deal is done and agreed to. Deshaun Watson is a member of the Cleveland Browns. So let's go ahead and get that up on stream for you guys now. Make sure to go give all these wonderful people follows that I'm using for the stream today. They do a really good job presenting some news and information. So it is definitely helpful for you if you can go actually do that. But as you see here from breaking news coverage, the deal is done and agreed upon. So definitely very important to see that. Deshaun Watson is a Cleveland Brown. Who would have thought? I was last night after the stream, I was getting everything ready for the next eventual live stream for Deshaun Watson. And, you know, the news came out that he was going to take the weekend to decide where he's going to go play. And I was like, okay, I've got a little bit of time here. I'm going to record a Packers mock today, take everything easy. I've got the weekend, you know, I'm going to get my thumbnails ready. Luckily, I had the thumbnails mostly ready. I just had to swap out the Browns logo with the other teams. But it definitely does make everything a little bit easier for me. And then Basic Gamer here asked a great question about the Saints. Now that Deshaun Watson's going to Cleveland and not to New Orleans, do I think Jameis Winston's going to be back with the Saints? Yes, ultimately, I do think so. My reason being is the fact that Jameis is available still. He's probably relatively cheap, probably around $6 to $8 million a year, I'd have to guess, coming off that ACL injury. And this also gives them the flexibility to keep Teron Armstead, who's still out there in free agency, the best tackle available this offseason. And I think it's going to be really good for them to just keep some of their good players. They've opened up some salary cap space, and it's going to help them keep some of the best players that they already have. Stress Free says, wonder what the Falcons are going to do with Matt Ryan. They've never tried to trade him before. For Matt Ryan, now this is purely conjecture here. I don't have actual hard evidence on this. I think that they're going to keep him. I don't have the understanding or the sense that he's going to be moved. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I think that they're going to want to keep him around. I think they want to have a stable quarterback for Kyle Pitts early in his career to try and help him develop as best as possible. And then, try and replace him down the road with a QB from the draft. Very possible they could use pick 9 this year or pick 8 this year on a guy like Malik Willis from Liberty, who has all the physical traits you'd desire in a quarterback. Or maybe a guy like, Kenny Pickett, if he's still there. He's more pro ready, which is why I don't think he makes as much sense for Atlanta, because you still do have Matt Ryan. But it is a potential outcome. Bills GM Brandon Bean on the talent in the AFC, he says, I'm voting for realignment. Yeah, I can't blame him for that. The AFC is insane. Burger Sports says Teron Armstead is as good as gone for the Saints. That was the assumption, but now that money's opened up in New Orleans and they didn't get Deshaun, I think there's a realistic outcome where Teron Armstead does actually return. Very possible, that he does go elsewhere. But at the same time, I think, reuniting with New Orleans isn't a bad outcome, especially now that they have the money to pay him as they opened up money for Deshaun. Moving on, Storm says AFC West going to beat up on one another all year. Right, and there is a real outcome here where the AFC West actually kind of struggles because they have so many tough in-division games that they, push each other. They become bloodbath type games and makes it really hard to plan for the other teams. And it also, there's an outcome where, you get 3 losses. Each team loses 3 times in division. And all of a sudden, every team in the division is like 10-7 or 9-8. And it's going to be a really tight race down to the end there. I'm very excited about it. And there's also some AB tweeting about the Browns. He says CAB, Cleveland Antonio Browns. So we'll see. Maybe Cleveland is picking up Antonio Brown yet at this point. We'll see. Basic Gamer says, where do you think Tyrann Mathieu's going? I saw a report that potentially the Bears, and that does make sense because their new GM, Ryan Poles, does have history with Tyrann Mathieu in Kansas City. They work together in Kansas City. I am going to go up here and pull up AB84 because I do want to put him on stream as well, what he's tweeting. So this is Antonio Brown here that I'm pulling up on Twitter. You see 1.6 million followers. Business is booming. He says, take the Browns to Super Bowl, not toilet bowl. And he also tweeted this, and he with the Cleveland Antonio Brown. So now we have some speculation here maybe that Antonio Brown could be going to the Cleveland Browns. Rate this signing on a 1 to 10. If they were to sign Antonio Brown on a 1-year, $5 million deal on a 1 to 10, what would you grade that, especially now that they have Deshaun Watson? They still have Kareem Hunt. They have Amari Cooper. Is that a necessary signing for Cleveland? Do they need to bring in Antonio Brown? Or are they good? Absolutely crazy. I still can't believe Deshaun, changed his mind here on where he's going. Bruno gives that a 5 out of 10. Thank you, Bruno, for commenting. Glad to have you in the stream. And then here, Lawrence gives it a 9 out of 10. I'm kind of in that 7 out of 10 range because when if he just played and, kind of just played football and didn't make a big deal about a lot of stuff, it'd be a 10 out of 10 because he's a great player still. But like Basic Gamer here is saying, his history kind of makes you wonder if it would be a 1 out of 10. So I think that is a potential outcome as well. I don't think it's a terrible move here if they were to bring him in. I wouldn't actually grade it a 1 out of 10 myself because when he plays, he's really great. And part of the thing here too with Bruce Arians, I don't want to put any blame on Antonio Brown with that. I think Bruce Arians was in the wrong with the situation that unfolded in Tampa. I think Antonio Brown could have handled it better. I don't like the fact that he took off his pads, left the stadium shirtless, made a big deal about it. It could have just been a lot cleaner. So that's on Antonio Brown there, but I think the overall situation was more on Bruce Arians and on BA than it was on AB. Regular, welcome to the stream. He says, who really wins this trade? I don't think you can really say either till the season starts. I think that the Cleveland Browns win this trade. I understand your point here, Regular, but the Browns got a franchise quarterback. Really, both sides win. It's a win-win trade, but if you're going to talk about who wins to a higher extent, the Texans have to go out and draft well. They have to go find the right guys. They do get pick 13 this year from Cleveland, which is valuable, but at the same time, you have to still hit on your picks, whereas we know what Deshaun Watson is when he plays. When Deshaun Watson plays, he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He's extremely mobile, very good with his legs, even better with his arm, which is what makes him so special. The Browns are really well set up now. And Deshaun Watson, it's a huge hit. Mayfield says, I highly doubt Brown goes back to the AFC North. See, that's a good point too, because he has spent such time with the Steelers. But remember earlier this offseason too, Antonio Brown had interest in returning to the Ravens. So I think AB would have interest in going back to the AFC North. It just comes down to if the teams actually want to bring him there. Gemini says, salute Deshaun Watson to Cleveland. Glad to have one of the best quarterbacks back in the NFL. Deshaun Watson is the real deal. Yes, he is, Gemini. You should be massively happy. All Browns fans should have a huge smile on their face today because Deshaun Watson to Cleveland, I mean, that's just a huge deal. That you can't emphasize enough how really important that is. The fact that they do have Deshaun Watson now, because he's a top 5 to 10 quarterback consistently. You know what you're getting from him, and that is really good production. Maybe some off the field issues in there, but Deshaun Watson will be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns next season, which is huge. And then Regular here says, what team is the best fit for Baker Mayfield? I like Indy as a fit. I agree. I think Indy's the best fit. Just for considering Baker, who he is as a player, when he's protected, he's pretty good. I think him and Michael Pittman could be a pretty good duo together. Baker's not nearly as good as Deshaun Watson. Let's be honest about that. He just isn't. But I still think he's a starting level quarterback. And the nice thing is with his age, with how young he is, there's some legitimacy here to the chance that maybe the Browns can send him there and then they get some stability at the QB spot. It's been the last 5 seasons, the Colts have not had the same starting quarterback to start the year. I believe it went something along the lines of Andrew Luck to Scott Tolzien to Phillip Rivers to Carson Wentz. And there's one in there that I'm missing, probably Jacoby Brissett at one point. But my point here is they just don't have stability. They don't have the consistency at the quarterback spot in terms of who they want to be their guy. Baker Mayfield maybe isn't the best, but what he is he's fairly reliable. He's tough. He's going to play through injuries. And he had a down year this past year with Cleveland, but a lot of that was because of those injuries. And let's be honest about it too. Jarvis Landry got released into free agency and Odell Beckham Jr. got traded and now is in free agency with no team really signing him yet. Through the first 4.5 days of free agency, his 2 primary weapons haven't been signed either. So let's be honest about it. Cleveland, Baker Mayfield just didn't have the guys that he needed, I think, to be successful. Now, I'm not saying there wasn't talent around him. The running back room was crazy good. that team did have a lot of talent, but there just wasn't the chemistry there between Baker and OBJ specifically. And I think both sides were better off with a divorce. And now I think the Browns are going to be better off with the divorce from Baker Mayfield because they got an improvement at quarterback. But I think the Colts will be really happy to tie themselves to Baker Mayfield. I think they'd give him a nice, probably 2-year extension once trading for him. Give him, 2-3 years to really evaluate what they have with him. I hope that Chris Ballard probably just sticks with him. It's hard. The one thing, too, about when you're interchanging QBs, you have to work out the whole chemistry, the rhythm, routine, making sure that guys get along, and also that they, understand each other. Think about the one play between Mahomes and Kelsey that really set them up for the field goal to send them to overtime against Buffalo, where he goes up the seam, and then after the game, Mahomes just said, I'm playing with him so long, I just knew he was going to do that. The Colts haven't had that because they keep cycling quarterbacks in. If you build up a little bit of consistency and stability there, it does take your play to the next level. Lawrence is so excited here, says LFG Dog Pound. Dog Pound should be extremely excited for sure. And the regular says Mayfield could be a long-term option for Indy. That's for sure. Exactly. That's my point here. And I do think that is very essential for sure. Go ahead. Also, if you can, hit refresh on your stream too. I am seeing one thing about maybe there's a little bit of desync between my streams. So hit refresh if you are concerned about that. Let me know if you're seeing that issue, because it might just be on my end as well. Regular says, if Indy isn't a team Mayfield's interested, what are some other options for him? So I think Indy is going to be an interesting point for Baker. I don't think that this is going to play out in a way where he's not interested. But like JP on Sports says here, Seattle is definitely a landing spot that makes some sense. You could also consider Atlanta. Say Matt Ryan's like, well, I don't really like the fact that you just pursued Deshaun Watson super hard and didn't want me. It's very possible that they just say, okay, well, we'll try moving you then. And then maybe Matt Ryan gets traded to Indy, and maybe Baker Mayfield gets sent to Atlanta. That's a potential outcome yet at this point as well. Not sure I love that for Atlanta. Just given where they're at in the draft, I feel like they could look for a quarterback of their own, but it's possible. And then also, like JP on Sports says here as well, New Orleans. Teams that were just in on Deshaun should probably be in on Baker now, because I think Baker long-term makes more sense for Atlanta than Matt Ryan, just given the fact that, Matt Ryan's well up into his late 30s. And then New Orleans doesn't really have an option at quarterback right now other than Jameis Winston, who's still out in free agency. And then Indy, Baker Mayfield would quite clearly be their best quarterback. And Seattle as well. I think, you get into a piston match basically between Drew Lock and Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield is going to win that probably 9 out of 10 times, I would have to guess. Regular says Carolina. I don't see that happening just because, with how poorly Baker Mayfield played last year, I think, and they don't have a second or third round pick this year, so their assets are a little bit tied up in other spots, that I don't see Carolina being the spot. I understand why it makes sense as a fit. But I think that Matt Rule was looking for a bigger splash than Baker Mayfield to try and save his job, and just quite frankly didn't get it. So what the Browns have left in this year's draft is they have pick 44, picks 78 and 99 in round 3, picks 107 and 118 in round 4, pick 202 in round 6, and then pick 223 in round 7. So they do have some good assets in there for sure. They've got what they need, essentially, 4 draft picks. And then you trade Baker Mayfield probably for the pick from Indianapolis, I'm guessing, in the second round. And then you have 2 second-round picks. They have a good way to still improve this team despite making a huge trade. Regular says, I like Kenny Pickett for Carolina. That's what really makes the most sense to me. I think 6th overall, Carolina probably does take the Pittsburgh Panther, Kenny Pickett. I just see that as the most potential outcome. May 4 says, I'm not sure Baker's arm strength is right fit for North and that cold. Part of the issue, too, is for anyone who's ever played sports out in the cold, you know that your hand kind of you lose a little bit of grip and a little bit of strength in it. So you have to have a cannon arm to really, be able to survive that, or really good, footwork to get a lot into your throws, kind of like what Tom Brady does. Look at how effortless it looks like when Tom Brady's throwing the football, which is why he was so successful in cold games for New England, because he's a body thrower more than just an arm thrower. Whereas, Mahomes is more of an arm thrower, throws off the move, and throws with a cannon arm. Same with Josh Allen. where Tom was more of a body thrower. I think Baker's kind of a blend of those two things, where he's a body thrower and an arm thrower, but I don't think he has the cannon arm to really back that up. And it's huge. Let's go here. Browns get Deshaun Watson and 5th-round pick. Texans get 3 first-rounders, a 3rd-round pick, and a 4th-round pick, just so any of you who missed it. Browns and Bears, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you back in here. I know you've been in a bunch of other streams in the past. And he says, go Browns, keeping it nice and simple. I'm going to leave a star on that one because that's an awesome comment to come back to for this. Regular says, I'm happy for my Chargers and upset how competitive it's getting. Yeah, I feel that because the AFC's gotten so much better, but as a byproduct, it's going to get way tougher. So, there's no easy games right now in the AFC unless you're playing the Jets or maybe the Jaguars again, or the Houston Texans. Probably those are the 3 teams you'd like to have on your schedule this year. And I can legally say that as a Jets fan. So don't get mad at me, okay? I'm being a little facetious. I mean, the Jets last year beat the Titans. The Jaguars have pushed a few teams as well last season. But for the most part, if we're just being honest about it, those teams are, a step below these other ones, which makes sense. And if we're going to be honest about it too, it's not a bad time to be a step below, because with all these teams that have really good players right now at where their current ages are, you're probably not ready to compete. But maybe 2-3 years from now, after you stack up a couple more high picks, maybe you're ready. If Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Davis Mills, I guess, for Houston, take steps forward, very possible that they set themselves up well. For now, the comment here from JP on Sports, this will be a move that will either make Andrew Berry a ton of money and win them a Super Bowl, or get him fired. There's no middle ground. When you give up this much, there's no room for error. The thing is, I don't like the and win them a Super Bowl part, because, let's say they get to the Super Bowl twice and lose both. Is this a disappointing trade for Deshaun? For me, I don't think it can be. Just like getting to the Super Bowl alone is hard, let alone winning it. I mean, think about it. Tom Brady's widely considered the best player ever, I think. I think that's pretty fair to say. He has 7 Super Bowl wins in 20-plus seasons. Right? It's hard. It is hard to get there. Very possible the Browns don't win a Super Bowl. I think, as long as they continuously make the playoffs and Deshaun plays great, this is a win for him. Okay, I don't think that this move, I agree that it's like an all or nothing kind of thing here, where it's either you win, either this goes well and you get a lot of money and a lot of recognition, or it doesn't go well and you get fired because you gave up 3 first-round picks. But I don't think that the bar needs to be, win a Super Bowl to have success. I think the bar needs to be get to the playoffs consistently, win a bunch of games, and have Deshaun play well, if that makes sense. So I agree mostly with your comment. Browns and Beer says, rooting for the Browns, not Deshaun Watson as a person. Will say that. Yeah, his situation's messy. I don't want to comment too much on that because I don't have all the information. I don't know all the logistics. And it's a very sensitive topic. So I don't want to, either say something insensitive accidentally or, do anything that, basically makes it look like I don't care, because I do think there is some real drama with him that I think is actually really serious. Storm the Desert says, do you think Pitt is setting themselves up to trade for one of the 2 QBs they've been linked to in the draft? Possibly. It's very possible, though, that they just feel content with Trubisky. The one thing is they really did address the offensive line. I didn't like the Mason Cole signing from Minnesota. He's terrible. The center for Pitt, the new center for Pittsburgh Steelers from the Vikings is brutally bad. But I do like the guard that they got. They got a lot better with that signing. And I think what they're going to do is look to take a tackle with their first-round pick, which there's some really good ones in this year's class. So depending on who falls, maybe they move up for a guy. But there might be one that just drops to them, too, that they really like and feel like can help their offensive line, which badly needs to improve. And then with Trubisky at quarterback, you can actually probably get away with a rookie tackle because he's mobile and he can extend plays with his legs, which is valuable. Regular says, looks like it could be our year, but then offseason happens like this. I'm guessing you're a Panthers fan. So, that's the thing. Stuff like this happens. Oh, no, you're a Chargers fan. That's right. My apologies. So it seems like, you guys were set up for success, but then you still have to get over the Chiefs. You have to get over the Raiders now, who got even better themselves, just like you guys did. And then also in that division, the Broncos became extremely legit. within one offseason. So definitely a tough division. The AFC West is by far the hardest division in football, and maybe the best division football's ever seen, honestly. Basic Gamer says, rate the Marcus May signing for the Saints. Yeah, like 8 out of 10. They got him at a pretty good price point. As a Jets fan, I know Marcus May. I know him better than pretty much anyone else. And what I'll say about him is there's moments and plays where he looks like a top 10 safety, and then there's moments and plays where he looks like he doesn't belong in the NFL. So as a Saints fan, if you're a Saints fan, Basic, which I think you are, you're gonna have to get used to that. You're gonna have to get used to the plays where you're like, oh my gosh, Marcus May, what a great signing. Then there's also gonna be times where you're like, oh my goodness, Marcus May seems unplayable right now. So, a lot of those happen to come in the run game. He just struggles to take the right route to the running back, and I think he's more susceptible to missing tackles in the open field than any other safety probably in the NFL, besides maybe like Andrew Wingard for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, Marcus May's good. I'm glad the Jets moved on from him, but you guys got him at a pretty good price point. JP on Sports says, yeah, you're right. This is big boomer bust, though. There better be a lot of divisional titles and playoff wins. Right, and that's the thing, right? Even if they don't win a Super Bowl, winning the division means something. Winning playoff games means something. And unfortunately, our society is very much like extreme or nothing. Like, think about how, people talk about James Harden. I know that's an NBA player. But he's gotten to the Western Conference Finals a whole bunch of times with the Rockets and lost to Kevin Durant and the Warriors. That's not a bad season by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think anyone would have actually expected them to beat the Warriors, which is probably the best team we've ever seen created on an NBA floor. But then people still look at Harden as someone who chokes in the playoffs, and sure, he's had moments where he does. But ideally, what's the expectation for him to beat Golden State in some of those years? People are just way too focused on, end results rather than the process to me. JP on Sports says 2020 better be the norm, not the exception after this. Right. That's a great point where they got very deep into the playoffs and almost had a chance at knocking down Kansas City. They were right there. That game, I remember, was such a good game. And I kept thinking it was going to go back and forth. And it was a phenomenal game. Just came a little short, but as of right now, that's the deal. Schefter here tweeting, after today's trade, free agent quarterback Jameis Winston now is expected to be back in play for the New Orleans Saints. So that's exactly what we talked about here on the channel. Regular says Juju joins the Kansas City Chiefs. I know the AFC West just keeps getting better. And then he says Chargers need to sign another cornerback, please. Very possibly you guys could draft one with pick 17. You guys did get better in the interior defensive line. I think the Chargers probably would like to draft a linebacker first, but nevertheless, cornerback's definitely in the cards too. If they feel like they need to add another one to deal with Juju and Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow and just how good that division is, I definitely do think it is a potential outcome that they will look fast and hard and long rather at the hard and long at the cornerback position for sure. So that's my thought on that. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the live stream up to this point. If you have, please subscribe. We are one subscriber away from 7,350. So let's see if we can get to that number. And regular, I know you're going to want Jordan Davis. I knew that was coming. I don't know if I see it after the Austin Johnson and Sebastian Joseph Day signings, but maybe. Tom Telesco does draft really well. So if Jordan Davis is there, wouldn't absolutely shock me that they would go out and do that. David Valentine says, does Jameis Winston go to the Indianapolis Colts? No, I think he's going to go to the Saints. I think Jameis is going to stick in New Orleans for this next season, probably on a 1-year, $8 million deal, I'd have to guess. Storm says, wonder how the Browns locker room will react to the whole drama that comes with Deshaun. Dude's going to have a minefield of media questions to sift through. Yes, he's going to. It's going to be probably a little awkward at first, especially if they don't immediately trade Baker Mayfield. But I think Baker's as good as gone right now. I think a deal probably materializes within the next 3 to 5 days at the long end. So for me, I think that once the dust settles, everything will be fine. But it's going to take a little bit of time. Regular, we also need offensive line depth at the guard or tackle spot, specifically right tackle. I mean, anyone who's a Chargers fan knows how bad Storm Norton is. He was just brutal. He's really the reason you guys lost the game last year to the Raiders to get to the playoffs. Storm Norton got obliterated by Max Crosby literally every single snap of that game. People talk about Max Crosby as a game wrecker. I mean, you put up a lot of put any good edge against Storm Norton, yeah, the game's going to be wrecked. Okay, Max Crosby wrecked that game last year because of Storm Norton's play, and quite frankly, I would be shocked if you guys don't find a right tackle. Probably going to stay live here for another 4 minutes or so, just up until the hour mark. I've been live for 55 minutes and 30 seconds at this point, so probably 4.5 more minutes of being live. Probably end it right at the hour mark here. Again, if you have enjoyed our channel here so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also leave a like on today's stream. And like he says, yep, Storm Norton's play was terrible. It really was. Storm Norton was bad. Kenneth Murray wasn't good either at the linebacker spot. I think that's a really bad missed pick there for Tom Telesco. He doesn't have a ton of those, but I think Kenneth Murray could probably chalk up into one of those L's. Austin Hooper heading to the Titans on a 1-year deal. So Austin Hooper going to Tennessee. The Titans get the tight end that they've been craving, which I think that does make a lot of sense for sure. Let's go ahead here. I do want to, I don't remember what it was that I was going to say. Lyle Collins did get released by Dallas. Wouldn't mind him. He would be a phenomenal fit in LA. I think ultimately, though, he's probably going to stick in Cincinnati. We're going to see another good player go to the AFC North. So AFC North's looking really good. I think the AFC West still clearly the best division in football, though. But the AFC North is not far behind. So I do want to urge you guys to go also give us follows on our socials, whether that's our Twitter, our Instagram, our TikTok. Gunnar Olszewski's headed to the Steelers. Really good kick returner and also special teamer. So Gunnar Olszewski, who actually went to school in Minnesota at Bemidji State, now moving on to Pittsburgh in his NFL career. But make sure you go follow our socials. I also have my own personal Instagram in the description. So if you guys are interested in seeing, some of what my personal life looks like, I know, some of you might not be interested in that, but I am putting that out there as an option for you guys if you are interested. And regular says Teron Armstead still has to sign yet. He has not signed yet anywhere. He'll be an interesting player to watch. Make sure you guys give us those follows on the socials though. And don't forget how crazy this news is on Deshaun Watson getting traded to the Cleveland Browns on a 5-year, $230 million contract. I mean, just absolutely crazy what we've seen here today. I did not think the Browns were going to be able to get back into it and get it done, but they did. They shocked the world, and they deserve a lot of credit for it because they were really aggressive. And I think the fully guaranteed money is really what pushed it over the top. If they didn't do that, they probably wouldn't have been able to get a deal done here with Deshaun Watson for him from Houston. But ultimately they did. Andrew Berry gave up just one pick in 2022 for Deshaun Watson along with no players. That is really good. The fact that they were able to basically keep all their assets besides pick 13 this year for Deshaun, definitely an interesting move. And yes, regular, they both would be upgrades. I agree. Kyle, welcome to the stream again. He says Watson made the best choice. Talent-wise, the Browns are head and shoulders above everyone else and a better coach. Yeah, I think the Browns are just better than these teams. Kevin Stefanski's an offensive mastermind. He's really, really smart. I love Kevin Stefanski as a head coach. I know he was a little bit on the hot seat, but I don't understand why for the Browns that were just so injured last year. I don't understand why there was so much hate and distaste toward him. I think that Stefanski is a very smart guy and someone who really understands football at a really high level, And I think that the Browns are going to have a wide variety of play call options now with the running backs that they have, getting Amari Cooper. They probably could use still another wide receiver or two. I'd look to see them take at least one on day 2 of the NFL draft this year with either a second or third round pick. So that's going to be something to watch for sure. And then here we have another question from regular. Says Julio Jones to the Packers. That's definitely an outcome that makes some sense. I also think that Jarvis Landry and or Odell Beckham Jr. to Green Bay makes sense as well. You could see the two of them, former LSU teammates, former Browns teammates. Maybe they want to play together again in Cleveland, or not in Cleveland, in Green Bay. So that could be a potential outcome. Whereas Julio Jones also makes some sense. So I think Will Fuller still makes sense as well. I am going to be wrapping up the live stream here, though. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed up to this point. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Again, Deshaun Watson is a Cleveland Brown. Who would have thought it? I'll probably make a video or two for the Baker Mayfield news, and we'll talk about exactly where he could land. I know what Jeff says, he's not happy as a Browns fan. Surprising to me. I would be happy if I got Deshaun Watson in terms of his actual talent. Now, maybe you don't like him off the field. I would totally understand as to why, and that's probably warranted. But when it comes to actual talent, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed today's live stream. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe as well if you're new, and we'll catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.